In 1998, The King of Queens was just a funny story about a delivery guy, his fiery wife, and a chaotic father-in-law under one roof. But now, it feels like it was all hiding something much complicated. The cast earned millions and reached the top, only to realize they had lost everything that truly mattered. Let's find out, because not everyone made it out of that story intact. At the center of it all, Kevin James, who played Doug Heffernan, the lovable husband and delivery driver whose everyday struggles carried the heart of the King of Queens. He was 33 years old when he became the central force of the show, turning ordinary life into something endlessly funny and relatable. More than just a sitcom lead, he became the identity of the series itself. As of 2026, Kevin James is 61 years old, still active in the entertainment industry and continuing to perform in films and stand-up. In recent years, he appeared in projects like The Crew, 2021, and Home Team, 2022, proving he hasn't stepped away from the spotlight. He remains financially secure and creatively relevant decades after the show ended. But success came with physical consequences that followed him for years. His weight fluctuated heavily between 110 kilograms and nearly 140 kilograms, placing constant strain on his body, especially his back, already weakened from earlier injuries. Over time, this created ongoing pressure on his joints and cardiovascular health, forcing him to continuously manage his condition while maintaining a demanding career in front of the camera. And despite those challenges, his financial success only grew stronger. From the King of Queens syndication deals that continued generating revenue long after the show ended in 2007, to box office hits like Paul Blart, Mall Cop, and Grown Ups, his income streams became long-term and stable. By 2026, his net worth is estimated at around $100 million, supported by multiple high-value properties, including a beachfront mansion in Delray Beach worth over $14 million. Now we turn to Jerry Stiller, who played Arthur Spooner, the unpredictable, loud, and chaotic father-in-law who stole every scene he entered. He was 71 years old when he stepped into the role, bringing decades of experience that transformed Arthur into one of the most iconic sitcom characters ever. He wasn't just comic relief. He was controlled chaos with perfect timing. Sadly, Jerry Stiller passed away at 92 on May 11, 2020 in New York from natural causes. In the years leading up to his death, he remained active with appearances in projects like Zoolander 2, 2016, showing his lasting connection to the roles that defined him. His passing marked the end of a long and respected career. In the years before that, his financial and professional stability remained strong. His roles in Seinfeld and The King of Queens continued generating long-term royalties through syndication, ensuring steady income even after he reduced his workload. These shows remained in constant reruns, keeping his presence alive on television for new generations. And by the time of his passing, that legacy was firmly secured. With an estimated net worth of around $14 million, multiple properties in New York, and recognition on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2007 alongside his wife, Jerry Stiller's story didn't end in hardship. It ended with stability, respect, and a career that kept giving long after the cameras stopped rolling. Do you remember Leah Remini, who played Carrie Heffernan? The sharp, fiery wife whose attitude and energy drove the emotional core of the King of Queens? She was 28 years old when she became the defining force behind one of the most iconic sitcom couples of the era. More than just a partner to Doug, she was the backbone that made every conflict feel real. As of 2026, Leah Remini is 56 years old, still active and increasingly influential beyond acting. In recent years, she led the award-winning documentary series Leah Remini, Scientology and the Aftermath, and reunited with Kevin James in Kevin Can Wait, 2017 to 2018, proving her lasting presence on television. She remains both a performer and a public figure with a strong voice. But the most intense chapter of her life came long after fame. In 2013, she made the shocking decision to leave the Church of Scientology after decades inside the organization. What followed was not a quiet exit. She publicly accused the group of control, manipulation, and abuse, triggering a years-long conflict. Through her 2015 memoir, Troublemaker, and the documentary series, she detailed allegations of surveillance, harassment, and intimidation, claiming she was followed, threatened, and systematically discredited after leaving. The situation escalated into one of the most high-profile confrontations between a Hollywood figure and a powerful organization. And yet, she turned that battle into something bigger. The documentary series ran from 2016 to 2019, earned 2 Primetime Emmy Awards, and became one of the most widely discussed exposés in modern television. Financially, she remained stable through syndication income from The King of Queens and book sales, with an estimated net worth of around $25 million, including an $8.5 million mansion in Studio City. Her story didn't just evolve. It transformed into a fight that reshaped her entire legacy. And as her story transforms into something far greater, the focus shifts to Victor Williams. He was 28 years old when he played Deacon Palmer, the calm, grounded friend who balanced Doug's chaos and gave the show its steady center. He brought a quiet strength to the role, creating a character that felt both real and dependable. More than a supporting role, he became the stability that held the group together. As of 2026, Victor Williams is 55 years old and continues to work steadily, appearing in series like The Affair, Sneaky Pete, and FBI Most Wanted. He has remained active in television while keeping his personal life largely out of the spotlight, living primarily in New York. What stands out in his story is the quiet challenges behind the scenes. Throughout his career, he has spoken about the limitations he faced in Hollywood. His 1.97 meter height and physical presence often led casting directors to see him as a cop, guard, or authority figure. Even after The King of Queens, he had to navigate an industry that struggled to see beyond those stereotypes, making each serious dramatic role a hard-earned step forward. And over time, that persistence paid off in stability rather than spectacle. His consistent work in television dramas allowed him to maintain a steady income, largely supported by syndication royalties and guest appearances across major series. With an estimated net worth of around $2.5 million, Victor Williams built a career that may not be flashy, but one that reflects endurance, discipline, and long-term balance in an industry known for instability. Coming to Patton Oswalt, who played Spence Olchin, the awkward, eccentric friend whose outsider personality brought a completely different layer to the group. He was 29 years old when he turned that role into something deeply relatable, giving a voice to characters rarely seen at the center of sitcom humor. More than comic relief, he represented a world that felt real beyond the main storyline. As of 2026, Patton Oswalt is 57 years old and remains highly active across film, television, and stand-up. In recent years, he has appeared in projects like The Sandman, 2022, where he voiced Matthew the Raven and continued performing new comedy specials. He remains one of the most respected voices in modern comedy, but behind that success came a devastating personal collapse. In April 2016, his wife Michelle McNamara was found dead in her sleep at the age of 46, with reports later confirming a combination of an undiagnosed heart condition and prescription medication as the cause. The loss was sudden and deeply traumatic, leaving Oswalt to raise their young daughter alone. In the months that followed, he openly described his descent into grief and depression, admitting he struggled just to function day to day while balancing fatherhood and work. And yet, over time, he rebuilt everything step by step. He returned to stand-up, released award-winning specials, and eventually found stability again both personally and professionally. His work, including his Emmy and Grammy-winning comedy specials and voice role as Remy in Ratatouille, 2007, continued generating long-term income. By 2026, his net worth is estimated at around $14 million. A career sustained not just by talent, but by resilience after one of the most painful losses of his life. Then there is Gary Valentine, who played Danny Heffernan, the goofy, unpredictable cousin who added a chaotic edge to Doug's world when he was 38 years old. He stepped into the role, bringing a natural comedic rhythm that felt effortless on screen. More than just a side character, he became a familiar and consistent presence throughout the series. As of 2026, Gary Valentine is 64 years old, still active in comedy and television. In recent years, he has appeared in projects like Kevin Can Wait, 2016 to 2018, and Paul Blart, Mall Cop 2, 2015, continuing to collaborate within the same creative circle that shaped his career. He maintains a consistent presence through live comedy tours and occasional screen roles. What makes his story more complicated is the perception that followed him for years. Being the real-life brother of Kevin James, he often faced accusations of nepotism, that his opportunities came primarily through family connections rather than talent. In an industry quick to judge, that label never fully disappeared, forcing him to constantly prove that his comedic timing and screen presence were his own, not borrowed. And over time, he carved out a stable, if quieter, success. His income remained tied to recurring collaborations, syndication from the King of Queens, and ongoing comedy performances. By 2026, his net worth is estimated at around $2.5 million, supported by moderate real estate holdings in Los Angeles and steady touring income. Next, we come to Nicole Sullivan, who played Holly Schumpert, the lonely dog walker whose fragile life quietly mirrored the emotional cracks behind the comedy. She was 31 years old when she brought unexpected depth to a character that could have easily been overlooked, turning Holly into one of the most quietly heartbreaking figures in the series. And somehow, beneath the humor, her presence always hinted at something more real and vulnerable. By 2026, Nicole Sullivan is 56 years old and continues working steadily across television and voice acting. She has appeared in series like Blackish and Disjointed, while also becoming a familiar voice in animation, notably as Supergirl in DC Superhero Girls, proving her adaptability long after her sitcom days. But behind the scenes, her reality was far less lighthearted. During the peak of her career, Sullivan faced relentless pressure from Hollywood's harsh beauty standards, especially for female comedians. She openly admitted to going through strict dieting phases and intense psychological stress just to maintain a body image that networks considered acceptable, even while delivering performances that made millions laugh. And over time, she found a way to reclaim control. Transitioning into voice acting and long-running TV roles gave her stability without the same brutal scrutiny. Her work across multiple platforms, combined with syndication earnings, built a steady financial base. By 2026, her net worth is estimated at around $4 million. A career shaped by quiet endurance in an industry that rarely shows mercy. And from quiet resilience, the focus shifts to Larry Romano. At 35 years old, he played Richie Iannucci, the streetwise friend whose raw New York energy grounded the group in something gritty and authentic. He gave Richie a natural toughness that felt less like acting and more like lived experience. For a time, he seemed like an essential part of the show's identity. By 2026, Larry Romano is 62 years old and lives a far quieter life in New York. Before stepping away from the spotlight, he had appeared in notable projects like Donnie Brasco alongside Al Pacino and Johnny Depp, and the acclaimed series NYPD Blue, building a reputation as a reliable character actor. The turning point came suddenly, and many still question it. Romano made the risky decision to leave the King of Queens early to pursue a new sitcom, Kristen. Within months, the show was canceled after only a handful of episodes, leaving him without the platform he had just abandoned. Behind the scenes, rumors swirled about creative disagreements and tensions with producers, adding another layer of uncertainty to his abrupt exit. And after that, the silence was loud. Major roles became scarce, and the momentum he once had never fully returned. His earnings remained tied to earlier successes, including residuals and past film work. By 2026, his net worth is estimated at around $1.5 million, a career that didn't collapse overnight, but slowly faded after one decision that changed everything. Okay, we turn to Merrin Dungey, who played Kelly Palmer, the confident friend who quietly brought balance and independence into a world full of chaos. She was 28 years old when she stepped into the role, turning what could have been a background character into someone with real presence and identity. And in a show built on loud personalities, Kelly stood out by not needing to shout. By 2026, Merrin Dungey is 54 years old and still actively working in television. She appeared in major productions like Big Little Lies and gained recognition as Francie Calfo in Alias, proving she could move far beyond sitcom roles and thrive in darker, more complex stories. But the reality behind her journey was far more complicated than it looked. During the late 1990s and early 2000s, Merrin openly confronted the quiet but persistent racial bias in Hollywood, where actresses of color were often limited to shallow supporting friend roles. She revealed that she had to fight twice as hard just to give Kelly Palmer depth, pushing writers, reshaping scenes, and refusing to let the character remain invisible. And that persistence paid off, slowly but surely. With steady roles across television and film, along with long-term residuals, she built a stable career on her own terms. By 2026, her net worth is estimated at around $3 million. Not built overnight, but earned through years of pushing against a system that never made it easy. Then comes Lou Ferrigno, who played himself, the towering neighbor whose presence alone could shift the energy of any scene. He was 49 years old when he appeared in the series, bringing with him decades of fame that turned even small moments into something unforgettable. And unlike most cast members, he didn't just play a character. He was already a legend walking into the frame. By 2026, Lou Ferrigno is 74 years old and still active, maintaining his connection to fans around the world. Long before and after the sitcom, he remained iconic through projects like The Incredible Hulk and later appearances tied to the Marvel Universe, along with constant appearances at global Comic-Con events. But behind that powerful image was a life shaped by pain from the very beginning. Losing nearly 80% of his hearing as a child, Lou grew up isolated and frequently bullied, only to face an even harsher reality at home. His father, who also acted as his trainer, was later accused of pushing him to extremes, mentally and emotionally, creating a relationship that eventually led to bitter legal disputes over money and control. And even in later life, the danger never fully disappeared. In 2018, Ferrigno nearly died after a severe infection caused by a botched pneumonia vaccine injection, leaving him hospitalized in critical condition. He survived, but the incident shocked fans worldwide. Today, with an estimated net worth of around $12 million, his life reads less like a success story and more like a relentless battle, one he somehow kept winning. We continue with Sam McMurray, who played Patrick O'Boyle, the unpredictable boss whose chaotic energy often pushed Doug to the edge. He was 49 years old when he took on the role, turning a supporting character into a sharp, satirical reflection of workplace pressure. And in a show driven by humor, his presence carried a darker, almost uncomfortable realism. As the years passed, his career remained impressively consistent. By 2026, Sam McMurray is 74 years old and still devoted to the stage. Beyond sitcom fame, he appeared in films like Raising Arizona and contributed his voice to The Simpsons, building a resume that spans over 100 projects across film, television, and animation. But stability in Hollywood is often an illusion, and he knew it better than most. As a lifelong character actor, McMurray faced long stretches without steady contracts, where projects were canceled abruptly and income became uncertain. He openly spoke about the financial anxiety that came with being recognizable but never indispensable, a position that left him constantly chasing the next role. And yet, he endured. Through decades of work, residuals, and stage performances, he built a modest but stable life. By 2026, his net worth is estimated at around $2 million, not the result of blockbuster fame, but of persistence in an industry that rarely guarantees anything. Remember Jenny O'Hara, who played Janet Heffernan, the gentle mother figure whose quiet warmth grounded Doug's chaotic world? At 59 years old, she appeared in the series, bringing a sense of authenticity that only decades of experience could create. And even in limited screen time, her presence felt deeply human and real. By 2026, Jenny O'Hara is 84 years old, still healthy and occasionally taking on small roles simply for the love of acting. Over the years, she appeared in films like Mystic River and Devil, proving her ability to move seamlessly between television and cinema. And in the end, that quiet resilience defined her career. With decades of consistent work and hundreds of appearances, she built a stable financial foundation. By 2026, her net worth is estimated at around $2 million, a reflection not of sudden fame, but of a lifetime spent refusing to give up. We continue with Dakin Matthews, who played Joe Heffernan, the strict yet deeply caring father whose quiet authority shaped Doug's world. He was 61 years old when he appeared in the series, bringing a level of wisdom and emotional weight that elevated every scene he touched. And unlike many sitcom parents, Joe felt real, firm, flawed, but undeniably human. As the years moved forward, his life took a path very different from typical Hollywood stories. By 2026, Dakin Matthews is 85 years old, still mentally sharp and actively performing on stage. He has appeared in major films like Lincoln and Bridge of Spies, and most recently returned to Broadway in Inherit the Wind, proving that his passion for theater never faded. But what truly sets his story apart isn't scandal. It's the deliberate distance he chose. Matthews openly rejected the superficial nature of Hollywood fame, stepping away from Los Angeles to focus on literature, teaching, and Shakespearean scholarship. He quietly built a life rooted in intellect, discipline, and artistic integrity. And that choice shaped everything that followed. With income streams from academia, book royalties, and selective acting roles, he created a stable and respected career outside the spotlight. By 2026, his net worth is estimated at around $3 million, not driven by celebrity status, but by a lifetime of mastery and purpose. Shifting to Alex Scooby, who played Doug Pruzan, the slick, self-serving lawyer whose presence added tension and unpredictability to Carrie's world. He was 27 years old when he took on the role, bringing a sharp edge to a character designed to disrupt rather than comfort. And for a brief moment, it seemed like this role could open much bigger doors. Looking at his life today, the trajectory is far more grounded. By 2026, Alex Scooby is 53 years old and continues working in Los Angeles. He has appeared in series like CSI, Crime Scene Investigation, and The Fosters, while also dedicating time to teaching acting, helping a new generation navigate the same industry that tested him. But behind that steady path was a turning point that changed everything. His character Doug Pruzan was originally planned for a larger role in the series, yet sudden script changes shifted the focus back to the core family dynamic. Almost overnight, his screen time was reduced, and with it, a major opportunity quietly disappeared. And from that moment on, the climb became much harder. Scooby relied on guest appearances and teaching work to stay afloat. By 2026, his net worth is estimated at around $1 million. A reminder that in Hollywood, sometimes it's not talent that decides your future, but timing. We end with Victor Rader Wexler, who played Mr. Kaplan, the strict boss whose cold, controlled presence constantly kept Carrie under pressure. He was 57 years old when he stepped into the role, turning a seemingly minor character into a believable authority figure that added tension to every workplace scene. And with just a look or a line, he could instantly shift the tone. As the years moved forward, his career proved far more extensive than many realized. By 2026, Victor Rader Wechsler is 82 years old and has stepped away from Hollywood to focus on theater in Kansas. Long before that, he built a massive television resume, appearing in shows like Everybody Loves Raymond, Friends, ER, and House MD, while also taking film roles in Dr. Dolittle 2 and The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle. But here's what makes his story more grounded and more revealing. Despite nearly 45 acting credits in the 1990s alone and consistent appearances in legal and authority roles across series like Boston Legal, NYPD Blue, and Judging Amy, Victor was rarely the face audiences remembered. And eventually, that quiet reality led to a quiet decision. Instead of chasing diminishing roles in Hollywood, he returned to the stage, performing in productions like A Christmas Carol, 2016, and Herschel and the Hanukkah Goblins at the Kansas City Repertory Theater. With a career spanning over 4 decades and an estimated net worth of around $1.5 million, his story doesn't end with fame. It ends with choosing where he truly belonged. So after all these years, from 1998 to 2026, the King of Queens cast has gone through success, loss, struggles, and quiet resilience. But their stories still feel incredibly real. So which cast member's journey surprised you the most, and who do you want us to cover next? Let us know in the comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more updated information.